In this video, I'm going to go more in depth into the idea that the world truly works like a simulator. And I'm going to talk about how the world works like a simulator in the context of fear. Because the last video I made was talking about fear and to overcome your fear. So the first step, this is going to be kind of like a walkthrough on how to deal with your fear. The first step to deal with your fear. So let's say your fear is social anxiety and you have the fear of just talking to other people. The first step is to make an intention, make a commitment in your mind that you're going to take action on that fear in some way. That somehow you've decided that you're tired of the social anxiety fear that you have and that you're going to do something about it. You're going to start talking to strangers, or you're going to take some sort of action on how to improve this fear. That's step one. And while I give you this walkthrough, I'm going to share a personal story from my own life about how I've used this own walkthrough in my own life. So as a kid, I had a huge fear of roller coasters. I remember my parents once took me on this ride. It wasn't even that scary at all. It wasn't even really a roller coaster, and they ended up like crying, and they had to bring me down and stop the ride because I was crying. So I have this huge fear of roller coasters, and as of before a week ago, I've never really gone on any really big roller coasters. I've only been on like Space Mountain and Matterhorn. And me and some friends a couple days ago ended up going to this theme park which had pretty big roller coasters. And I'm like, all right, I need to overcome this fear and go on some scary roller coasters. So for me in my life, following that walkthrough I'm giving you of step one, making an intention, making a commitment to battle your fears. When my friends were talking about, let's go to the theme park and go on some roller coasters, I made the decision, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go on some scary roller coasters. I'm gonna go on roller coasters bigger than I've ever been on before. And this is like a really big fear for me, as embarrassing as that is. And that another metaphor that could be is like getting into line of one of the roller coasters. I'm deciding I'm gonna do it. So whatever your fear is, just make that decision in your mind. And when you make that decision in your mind that you're going to take action on this fear in some way or some form, just the act of making that decision just gives you extra resources somehow. It's like the simulator gives you extra resources, whether it's kind of thoughts and ideas about how to better overcome this fear, some support in some way. But the first step, make a decision in your mind that you're going to overcome whatever fear you have. Step two is being honest about your fear. And see the world as a simulator, and the more honest you are at the simulator, the more support and just like love you get back. So if you are afraid to ask out a girl, or maybe you have social anxiety, whatever your fear is, tell people in your life that you have this fear. If you have social anxiety, tell some people in your life, I get nervous when I talk to people sometimes. Like something like that. The more you see everyone around you as the simulator, and the more you tell the simulator your fears, the more support and resources you'll get back on dealing with your fears. So maybe you could start by just going on an internet forum and talking about your fear on an internet forum. Like, it doesn't matter how, but the more people you tell people that you trust in life what your fears are, but the more you get out there what your fear is, the more support and resources you'll get back on dealing with that fear. So for me, while in line for that roller coaster, or even before I got into line, I told all my friends I was really afraid of riding this roller coaster. And they all gave me like support, and they kind of teased me, which helped. But they gave me support, and they're like, yeah, this is not that bad. Come on, Luke. They gave me support, which really helped. And then in line again, I was like, oh, I'm really afraid, guys. And they cheered me up. They're like, it's no big deal. But the more honest you are, the more support that comes back. So right before I was about to get on this roller coaster, the car in front of us left. It was one of those roller coasters where your feet dangle off. There were 2 loops on this roller coaster. I've never been on loops before. This is by far the biggest roller coaster I've ever been on. I'm really afraid, and I was thinking, the more honest I am, the more support that comes back. And right in front of me there was a 6-year-old girl who was about to get on the roller coaster, and I looked at her and said, I've never been on a roller coaster this big before. I am really afraid. And this 7-year-old girl, the 7-year-old girl, ended up giving me an amazing pep talk on why I should go on the roller coaster. She was She was encouraging me, she was kind of teasing me a little bit, but here I am, this 22-year-old guy, I'm about to get on this roller coaster, I'm like honest with the simulator. That's kind of the metaphor I'm just using about how this principle works. But I was like, I'm really afraid, I'm about to like do the fear. This is like maybe your fear is approaching a girl, and like right when you're about to do it, you're getting that last minute resistance, and you tell your friend, I'm nervous to do this fear, and that's when like the best part comes, right? So this 6-year-old girl gives me this amazing pep talk. It was like one of the best conversations I've like ever had. Like I was just smiling at just how awesome her pep talk was for me to ride this roller coaster. It was a really cool experience, and we end up getting in like the same aisle of the roller coaster with her. She actually ends up being like right next to me. We're hanging on this thing, and right before it's about to take off, we like pinky promise that everything's gonna be okay. And here I am, this random 7-year-old girl I just met, you know, on a roller coaster. Is because I was honest about my fear, I get this amazing like support back from life. And while the roller coaster was going up, I literally had no fear just because of the pep talk of this 7-year-old girl and the experience of her like giving me this pep talk and all this amazing encouragement of me going on this roller coaster. And I could tell you time and time again, whenever I've dealt with fears, that when I'm honest about my fears to the people around me, to in whatever ways I can, the more honest I am, it's like just the more, I want to say the word like love, it comes back at me, whether it's support, ideas, resources, whatever it is, the more honest, the more support that comes back. And then 3 is you go on the fear happens. You're like walking up to that hot girl and you're doing it. For me, it was riding that crazy roller coaster, going on the loops. My eyes are closed like the whole time, but I remember opening my eyes once, I was like upside down, I was freaking out, I felt the fear. And you do whatever it is. If you have social anxiety, you start talking to strangers and like, what am I doing? You do it. You're like, you see that girl you're crushing on, you boom, you go up and ask her. You feel the fear. Logically, you know it's probably what's the worst that can happen, but emotionally you still have to feel the fear. And then afterwards, just like that roller coaster, I got off on that roller coaster and I was like, I feel amazing. That was actually really fun, and I'm glad I did the thing I was afraid to do. And that's the same, I think the roller coaster metaphor is the best metaphor I can think of for any fear that you have. Walking up to that hot girl and asking her for a number. You kind of feel that nervousness and fear, but after you do it, no matter what happens, even if you get rejected, you always feel amazing. And then you have that reference point in your brain of, I just got rejected and I feel amazing talking to that hot girl, and then in the future it's going to be that much easier to talk to other hot girls. So the longer you wait on dealing with your fear, if you deal with your fear now, it's easier and easier to deal with it the more you like take action on that fear. The first time I remember asking out a girl, it was like really hard for me, but now it's a lot easier because I have so many reference points and experiences in my brain about me going through the fear and it being completely fine. So if you have that fear, I urge you, find step 1 and make the decision you're going to deal with that fear. Make that intention in your head. Step 2, be honest about your fear. Tell people in your life. The world truly works like a simulator. And 3, you just got to do it. You just got to do it and you'll feel amazing. All right, guys, peace out. I'll do a quick pan around the area. I always like to give you guys some cool views. Whatever your fear is, if you feel this video speaking to you, it's time. Peace out, guys. Take action on that fear.